always feel like I'm running for election when I'm at a podium. All right. Just so I know what I'm up against here, who knows what I do and what Echobox is? All right. And who has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about? I've got a handful, a couple. All right. Who here is would consider themselves to be like a ghost hunter, paranormal investigator? Yeah. So you incorporate stuff like Echobox into your investigations and stuff like that, ITC stuff. I'm going to say the same thing. If you were here on Monday night, I apologize. But through the last couple of weeks, most especially, I've been running a lot of experiments with Mr. Openlander and heard a lot of really weird things and seen some weird things. And, stuff that makes the stuff I just showed you kind of pale in comparison almost. Even in my private, like I'll do sessions where, and this is advice that I'll offer to you if you use Echobox, is to engage with the Echobox without the recording on, and let whoever you're talking to know that they're not being recorded and it's not being documented in any way, that they're free to say whatever they want, and you'd be surprised at the answers that they get. You can't be lying, you can't fool them, you can't have a recorder hidden somewhere or something, you can't fool them. You have to be telling the truth. And in my own sessions in their house, I've heard stuff that kind of blew my mind, that I don't even verbalize because I don't have anything to substantiate it. I didn't record it, so it's for me personally. So it's worth a try. But what I ask everybody to do is to check everything that you thought you knew or you learned by watching ghost hunting television shows, by watching all the series on TV, all the stuff that you learned listening to Art Bell at 2 in the morning, all the stuff you were taught in Catholic school, all the stuff you were taught at Temple, wherever you went, check it all at the door. Let's just all imagine that we were all just burst out of the womb, and we don't know, we're the most ignorant people on the face of the earth. Nobody's ever even mentioned God to us, okay? We don't know anything about angels or demons or anything anymore. That's all outside this door, okay? And the reason I say that is we don't know who we're communicating with. We don't understand the nature of our own reality, let alone the nature of another reality. So I have to look at it with a pragmatic, almost nihilistic kind of view that no human being alive has the answers. And if somebody tells you that they do, they're a liar. Because it's impossible to say. I don't care how much faith you have. I believe in people's faith, and I respect people's faith. But that's not my faith. You know what I mean? It's a different thing. But when you get into ITC, you need to forget about, oh my God, if I turn this on, am I going to attract demons? Oh my God, can I, whatever, can I talk to Jesus through it? Like, if you want to use it to talk to Jesus, go ahead, but there's no guarantee that you made any contact with Jesus. Because I bet you if I was on the other end of the line, and you called me, I'd be like, yeah, this is Jesus. I saw what you did last night. You're going to burn. Right? You got to check it. You got to forget about it. The other thing is people walk into a situation, let's say you're in a place like we're in right now, where people were laid out and their families viewed them, and there was a lot of emotion poured out into this room. And we don't understand the nature of our universe. We don't understand the nature of all of us have a magnetic field around us. It's always there. Our brains produce electricity. I don't know if you've ever been with a lover and touched your forehead to another person, touching third eyes with the person. If you jive with the person, it's not going to bother you to put your foreheads together. It's going to feel comfortable. If you put your forehead up against somebody and it's the least bit uncomfortable, you're out of tune with one another. It doesn't mean it can't be fixed, but you're out of tune. And the reason we all exist right now is because we're all tuned together like a tuning fork. And we're not the only tuning fork. There's an infinite amount of tuning forks in every direction that we look, okay? So when you're out ghost hunting, you gotta just go, there's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as spirits. There's no such thing as demons. There's no such thing as angels. There's no such thing as aliens. There's no such thing, as far as I know, that's been shown to me, that I can say 100%, yeah, that was Jesus on the phone. You know, that was Saint Michael. That was whoever. And like I said, it's not knocking anybody's faith or anything like that. It's just to clear preconceptions that somebody fed you. So if we all were ignorant people, and this is the first you ever heard of it, you know, how would you look at it when one of us turns on a device and a voice comes back and answers you, whether it be in a personal way, like I know many of you have. Dennis, if you don't mind, but share a little bit about, just scratch the surface. My friend Dennis has driven up a few hours from south, and he's been using EchoVox for quite a long time, and he's actually been in touch with authorities. He's not the only person using it in an investigation of a missing person or a crime, and so it's gone, his level, it's reached pretty high, and with the other investigation, I know it's gone as high as the FBI. So nobody's contacted me yet. I also don't really check my email that often, so I don't know. But figure if it's that important, they're gonna come. How's this thing work? And I'm gonna go, it's magic. I'm fucked, you know, because I don't know. I really don't know. And that's one thing I like to say. I also, not standing up here as an authority, I don't know anything more than you guys do. I check it at the door. I was raised with a certain belief system. And then I taught myself from a young age to think for myself. Psychedelics helped. But, you know, now I think at things from a different angle. So, for example, I'm going to throw something at you. All right? At Andy's house, we get, this house is evil. Clear as, right? You guys, it was clear. There's no denying it. This house is evil. But then I got to thinking, well, what if nothing bad has ever happened here? Like babies have been born, and people got married, and there's been bar mitzvahs, and you know, everything's been shiny, happy for all these years. But 25 years from now, long after Andy and Chris and I, everybody that's associated with the place has moved on, there's going to be a terrible murder there. Somebody's going to hack their family to bits. The house is evil. Time for us as human beings is a linear thing. We're born, we die, we travel in one direction. There's no left, there's no right, there's no up, no down. For a spirit, for whoever the hell we're talking to, it appears that time is irrelevant to that. Therefore, you could be haunted by the ghost of a person who was yet to be born. Why wouldn't you be able to? If we're human, and time is for us, and it's linear, why would it be not possible? If you could be haunted by the ghost of somebody that was alive, and part of their energy, their consciousness, connects with you one way or another, and you're sure of that, what's to stop the reverse if time is irrelevant to them? Anybody got anything on that? No? So imagine, basically, what happens is we end up at this juncture where there's no answers. Right? Nobody ever goes out on a ghost hunt and comes back and they're like, I got one! You know, it's tied to the bumper of the truck, mounted on the wall, elephant guns and shit. We don't get answers. And we're not allowed to have the answers.
Goobers.
We're allowed to have the answers personally. We are allowed to have the answers personally. I know I've had personal experiences that I could sit here and I could tell you guys. It doesn't make a difference. It's for me. All of us have had them, one way, shape, one kind of form or another. Whether it be on a paranormal investigation, or when you're 6 years old. I must have been 4 years old, and I remember my parents taking me over to their hippie friends. His name was Guitar, and they'd go over there and smoke pot or whatever, and they'd be like, Danny, go play together in the green room. And they'd close these French doors, and I'd be in this, I still remember it, you know, I'm 42 now, I must have been 4 years old. And it was this long room, and it was green, and it had red furniture. It was very 70s. It was actually very 60s at the time. And I remember having the creeps and the willies and feeling breezes whipping around me as a child. And that was like the precursor to everything that made me start to question. So what I'm hoping we do here tonight is everybody leaves here with kind of different view, maybe, of what you're up to when you're out there doing it, whatever it is that you do, whether it's personal or whatever. Like, I mean, really think about it. What is to stop you from talking to your subconscious through Echo Box? Nothing. Because I've heard my own voice come out of it, and I didn't say a word. Not one word did I say. My mouth shut. Started the program. I let it run. And I thought, and I thought, and I thought. And eventually my voice came out. Did that happen to you as well?
I heard circus music.
You heard circus music. I heard
Bachelor's
music
Grove
as
Cemetery.
well. At where?
Bachelor's Grove.
At Bachelor's Grove.
Circus music. We heard trumpets and
where? Who else has heard trumpets and circus music on their Echo Box?
it was, I don't know.
Nobody? I've heard music before.
Trumpets. It was circus music, like,
Right.
like a band. Like trumpets and
Yeah, I
tubas
guarantee that doesn't exist in our universe of Echo Box. You know?
No.
There's no circus music in
What
it.
about flocks of birds?
No flocks of birds. It's nothing like
We
that.
were doing Echo Box at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, and everybody, we were just like, what the fuck was that? And we heard like a flock of seagulls, like not the band, but we heard that come through the Echo Box.
Right. No, I get it.
And it was birds, man.
And
it was birds.
But what was
and we were
it,
like,
though?
what the fuck was that?
Was it just the sound of
No.
some birds that flew over 10 years ago, and it just happens to be bouncing around?
Well,
and
you know
happen
what's
to
crazy?
catch it?
You know what's crazy about that? Was we heard that if you read up on the history of Bachelor's Grove, 200 years ago, 100 years ago maybe, okay, there was a story where the settlers talked about the birds in the area were so prevalent.
Right.
And my dad, okay, who lived in Bachelor's Grove, like a mile away, Bachelor's Grove isn't just a cemetery,
Right. I understand.
okay? It's not the cemetery. Everybody thinks Bachelor's Grove.
It's an area.
It's the cemetery. It's the area,
Yeah.
okay? My dad, okay, him and his buddy, they used to raise these pigeons, and they used to race them, and they had like thousands of pigeons, okay? And if you read the history of the area, the pigeons were crazy in that area. And if you go to 147th and Midlothian Turnpike and Cicero Avenue, today, right now, you can drive there right now. Okay. I'm babbling.
Okay. Well, let me
Okay.
take
There's
something from you.
there's 1,000 pigeons there right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me just get to the seagulls that you heard through your Echo Box.
Yeah.
To me, that's as simple as at one point in time, there's a whole lot of people that lived here, and they heard seagulls very often, and it was normal to them. That somehow embeds itself in the universe. Echo Box, you, whatever happened to tune into it at that point in time. It doesn't mean that there's a flock of ghost seagulls flying around.
No, it's not ghosts.
It
It's
doesn't mean
no.
that at all. It's like a recording. It's like anything else. So,
no.
you helped me out there because before I switch over to Andy, I want to make sure everybody really gets to just check your your preconceived stuff at the door. You know, really do and analyze your recordings and take the time to, if you're gonna bother with ITC at all, you need to take the time to tear it apart. You need to take the time to narrow it down to certain frequencies, and you need to slow it down, reverse it. Andy and I recorded some stuff, and I'm like, dude, took the mouse away from him and flipped something upside down, and I knew I heard something upside down, and that was "This house is evil." But it was backwards. I had to flip it in Audacity. I knew it was there. I heard somebody talking backwards. Why would there be somebody talking backwards through a radio-based device over the radio waves? There wouldn't be. There wouldn't be. It was ITC or EVP or combination of whatever the hell. Alchemy, the word that's thrown around that I enjoy a lot. But at this time, I would like to answer any questions that anybody has.
Maybe I should save this for Monday night, but I'm thinking, earlier you said it's possible to talk to someone before they were born. Have you ever done that yourself?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I've talked to thousands of people.
Well, that's people that have
Thousands of
second
people.
life.
I don't know one single person I've talked to. I know that I've talked to the consciousness of particular people that were once alive because they proved it to me. For example, my meme, my grandmother, her ashes are tattooed in my arm, her name is right there in Antonia. And when she comes to me, not only do I hear her through the echo box, but I smell her rose and lavender perfume when she always wore. Okay, so I get that confirmation. But that's one out of thousands. So I probably have talked to people that haven't been born yet. We all probably have.
But by doing so, I mean, if you definitely know if there's somebody that you're talking to that has not yet been born yet, don't you also have the power to alter history?
No, because for us, time is linear. There's no such thing as going back in time. Man's never going to do it. We might be able to jump ahead in time.
I was just saying that, but you're not really going back in time. If you're talking to somebody that hasn't been born yet, you're going ahead in time.
Yeah, but they have to come back to haunt you. So their time is irrelevant to ours. So it doesn't matter. We're going in one direction. They can be going. You might be in the right place at the right time, and that's it. You got to think about every person that's ever lived is a laser beam shooting from billions of different directions, and they all intersect at certain points. Sometimes those lights are turned on, sometimes those lights are turned off. So we make those connections. And so we are just one laser beam passing through an infinite amount of other ones. And maybe we make a connection, and maybe we have a device on at the right moment. Maybe we don't. We don't know. We're all hurtling through space right now. Nothing around you is solid. Any more questions?
I'll tell you about an experience.
Go for it, Rosemary.
We were talking with the Applebox, Jim and I, and it started speaking Albanian. Jim's Albanian, literally, and 7,000 miles away, right?
Yeah. My dad's brother passed away about 8 years ago, and it was quite interesting to see a foreign name come out that pertained to me, because I couldn't believe it.
And the foreign language.
And in a foreign language.
And that's actually very, very, very
Which
common.
was really, to me, was like, wow. There's no way I just caught somebody
Yeah,
saying,
and I can't explain it. I mean, I get messages from people I have to, copy and paste and Google Translate
it's crazy.
every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I hear Portuguese? How did I hear,
Right.
and so on and so forth. So
It's amazing.
it's the magic.
And then to be my uncle was totally, I mean, I blew my mind away.
The verification.
You knew his voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and spoke a couple of words that I asked, I got answers.
And that's
recorded it.
personal connection.
Yeah, and then when I told my dad about it, he was like, I gotta come over and sit down with you guys.
I assure you, there's other people I
It's
know for a
amazing.
fact in this
Really.
room that have talked to very close relatives that have passed.
But you gotta really pick, like you said, pick away at that and switch it around. And I tons and tons of recording.
It takes time. I run short sessions. I do like 5-minute sessions.
Yeah, I learned to do that.
5 minutes. I want to go 5 hours, but there's no way I'm going to sit there listening back. 5 hours after lunch. Anyone else have any questions?
Dan?
Oh, this is just a gentleman right here.
Yeah, what's the best device for Equifax? I mean, we've been on phone, we've tried. Have you found that, hey, when I have it on such and such device, an iPad, whatever,
Okay.
you know, that makes things shine just see, or is it, there is no
Well,
specific?
put it to you this way. If you're like an Echobox fanatic, right? Like you're like, I got everything Echobox, t-shirt and hat and all that. You want to have it on your iPad too. Because you'll notice on Android, the delay doesn't work so well. When you set it to 10 seconds, that buffer fills and eventually you're back to 0. iOS doesn't work like that. iOS holds that 10-second buffer. So it's a totally different animal.
Right.
So Echobox, and I've heard some responses come out of iPad that are like, whoa, like, you know, like just absolutely mind-blowing in the dead space between the syllables and enough to make your head explode. So, and that was on an iPad. As far as Android goes, I've been experimenting with everything from $20 Walmart phones up to top-of-the-line phones I can get my hands on, different tablets. It'll run, most of my stuff will run on just about anything, for the most part, and you'll get the same result, because it's the same mechanism. The real-time recording, open air is the important part. It really is. And we're going to do some experiments tonight with some real-time open air recording that I guarantee you nobody in this room's ever heard anything like it before. I haven't heard anything like it before because we haven't done it yet, but it's going to be good. All right. So, who was this guy?
Hi, Danny. I had a quick question as far as, you know, with the spirit box, the physical spirit box, you know, that comes off of the creation of Frank's box. Like, how did you come up with the Echo box as an app? How
Well,
did it create?
To make a long story short, I wanted a ghost box, but I was a stagehand and I had an accident. My knee was destroyed, so I was very poor. And I had an Android phone, and I wanted to go with my oldest son. He wanted to go out on a little ghost hunt, so I figured I'd hobble around on my crutches, whatnot. So I went to the Google Play Market, figuring there's got to be an app. It's a ghost box. Would make sense. And there wasn't. So I built one. I built it for me. I put it up, it was 99 cents. That was the SV1 Spirit Box. It's out for free now in a better version than the original. And Echobox, it led on to more. And Echobox ended up happening when I was running 2 apps, one of which is a real-time recorder. Instead of plugging headphones in, I said, boy, I wonder what would happen if I plug speakers in. So I plugged speakers in, and it's up. The recording's up on SoundCloud. It's like instant replies. The second it happened, it was instant. It just worked like that. So it wasn't anything. I didn't wake up one morning and go, oh, I got this great idea. It's called Echobox, and it's got this dial and it spins. It didn't work like that at all. It was this evolution that took. It was a lifetime work for me, honestly. It took, like, I did this graphic design, and like I designed my UIs and all my artwork and promo stuff, and I worked in theater, and I worked in entertainment, and I worked in flipping burgers, and you know, everything came down to Echobox at the end. You know, it was a lifetime work. So it wasn't something I woke up one morning and doodled out on a piece of paper and came up with.
Do you think that
What's that?
do you think that us knuckleheads at Bachelor's Grove, do you think we're knuckleheads?
I think you guys are knuckleheads.
Yeah, do you think we're knuckleheads? Does all the
I've been going to Bachelor's Grove for almost 30 years.
you think we're knuckleheads?
Not at all.
I don't know. I haven't even been there yet.
Yeah.
So, no comment.
Yeah. Seriously, your Echobox, okay? The first time I ever saw that Echobox at It was at Bachelor's Grove, Ed Shanahan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he brought it in there. And when he was doing his thing, I looked at it and I said, that's bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. This is, pardon my language. I said, this thing is recording everything we see, everything we hear. And I called it all bullshit. And he was,
You're not the only one.
listen, hear me out, okay? Hear me out. And they were like, do you hear what this thing is doing? I'm like, yeah, I know what it's doing. I said, it's recording everything we say. This guy's saying Bill, this guy's saying Joe, this guy's, you know. So in 2 days from now, this Echo Box is gonna say Joe, it's gonna say Bill, it's gonna say this, it's gonna say that. It's recording every single thing that we're saying right now. And it's the first time I heard it was with Ed Shanahan, so I called it bullshit. And after a few visits, I saw some other people going there, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this app. I'm gonna get it. And I downloaded it on my iPhone, which you don't have it on Apple anymore. So I got the first one,
Right,
and I still got it. And I won't get rid of it.
right, the first version.
You know why?
Because it works for you.
Because it's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it works for you.
And there's a Mexican dude, I don't know who he is, but there's a Mexican guy at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery.
I hear your recordings
And-
when you send them to me.
Yeah.
I do. I hear them.
Yeah.
I can't listen to everybody's, but
Yeah, but
I know who I'm talking to.
I called bullshit.
I know. And you're not the
I
only
called
one.
bullshit
I
for-
had to come against the
I
entire
called bullshit.
paranormal
I called
community.
bullshit for the
I
longest
had to come
time.
out to everybody and go,
And-
hey, let me talk, please.
And
I had to come out
it's,
against an entire community of people that thought, that's bullshit. And I was like, but wait, please.
Danny, I'm
No,
telling you,
Please, wait.
or not.
Please wait. I had to convince people, one after another. Please just listen to this 2-minute recording.
Right.
That's all you need. Just listen to this 30 seconds. Listen to this one response. And it took, Jesus, before I could get this many people in a room interested in that, it took 2 years. Before it started popping up on TV shows and stuff. So it was like, it was overcoming people like you. And that's the right attitude. That's a healthy attitude to have. And now I created a monster because now people are churning out apps like they took too much X-Lax. So you go and you pull out nothing but bullshit. So I end up, people go, oh, I'm not going to buy EchoVox because I got the Super Duper Ghost Box Deluxe for 99 cents. And I didn't hear the devil, and so that's it. I'm done with that.
There's this Hispanic cat. I don't know what his name is, but he's there. And he talks, and you can hear him, and I can guarantee you, bring your
Maybe it's your
EchoVox,
iPhone.
bring your boom, 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 boom.
Maybe your iPhone's haunted. It's possible. It's possible. I've whipped devices into the fire. I'm not gonna lie. I've whipped Android phones. Whoop! Off you go. Bye. You go, off you go. I've sent recordings to other people thousands of miles away. And you know what started happening at their house?
Damn.
Bad stuff, weird stuff start to happen. Why, I don't know. So I'm gonna. I'm gonna see if there's room for one more question. I don't see if there's room for one more question, and then I'm gonna give it over to Mr. Openlander. We'll play his sizzle reel, which is awesome. Seriously, Andy's sizzle reel blows mine away. It's awesome. So, Joe, are you holding your hand up?
Yes.
Go ahead, Joe.
So kind of go back to his flock of seagulls comment, So do you think it's a possibility, one of the things that we're tapping into is kind of fragments of time that have kind of been stuck, or that we maybe it comes passing by us again? If that makes sense?
I think of it as, when you chip away at a rock. I come from New Hampshire, okay? It's the Granite State. So if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I'm really sorry. But you can pick up a chunk of rock and you can pull out a piece of silicone. A beautiful piece of silicone, right? Everybody know what I'm talking about? Just right out of the ground silicone?
I pull rocks out of the Bachelor's Grove Creek and I bring them home and I tumble them.
So it's layer upon
I
layer
polish them.
upon, please, you're gonna throw me off, okay? Honestly, that's enough. So it's layer after layer after layer of the silicone, okay? So let's say, for example, maybe time doesn't progress. Maybe time just stacks upon itself. And every once in a while, fragments you get to tune into. So, to answer your question, yeah, you're basically in a space where you might accidentally cross into a groove, for lack of a better word, where there just happens to be a flock of seagulls. I keep getting the song every time I say it. Stuck in my head. There's a microphone in front of me. It's not going to happen. But it wants to come out. So, does that answer your question? Does that make any sense, Joe?
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
It's like the seagulls could have happened 30,000 layers ago,
Right.
but they're still there. They're in the stack. Time just keeps stacking.
It's just kind of resonating there.
Perhaps it's resonating off the rocks that surround the lake or whatever. Who knows? I mean, it's mostly built out of that stuff. You cannot speak out of turn. It's very polite. Please. Anybody else have any other questions besides this gentleman? Go ahead, Dennis.
Where do you see yourself going with this? I mean,
In the history
are you
books.
trying to
In 18.
I'm trying to listen.
merely perfect the communication or learn from what you're communicating with?
I feel that I'll leave Earth with as much knowledge as I have today. Probably more questions. So,
A guy
answer your question.
wrote a book
I think crystal
in
clear, yeah,
18-something.
it's already happening.
around
We've
this
heard it. There's no question. She
Bachelor's
heard
Grove
it.
area.
She started with nothing but a tape recorder. Standing in the
rocks
basement with me and Andy,
and the
quiet as a
pigeons.
mouse upstairs. And I heard it
Very prevalent.
happens. So it's,
And that's
it's
where
it is
getting this.
happening.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
To clarify myself, are there things that we can learn from who we're talking to?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's another thing. You go on an investigation, a preconceived notion. Is there anybody there? Help. Right? Who hasn't gotten it? Help. Well, are they asking for help or are they offering it? Because normally your normal reaction would be, how can I help you? Maybe it can be, how can you help me? Yes, I need help. Help me make this better. The first response I ever got through Equivox was build it. Those two words, build it. And then for years after that, people around the world have been getting Bridget. Bridget. And everybody says, who's Bridget? I said, Bridget's two words. Bridget. So here I come from 900 miles away into these people's fine home, where we wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, drinking our coffee, doing ITC, and it goes around the clock, 24/7. You know, like we live, eat, and breathe it. It's our whole existence. So, and we want to take it as far as we can. And it's like, you know, I have sons that want to, you know, hey Dad, can we have your job and we're done with high school? You know what I mean? And I just tell them to start getting tattoos now. So with that, I went, this guy right here.
I don't have a question. I was just giving you.
Oh, you give me the horns up? All right. There you go. Hallelujah.
One more thing.
As long as it's quick, because I got to get Andy up here.
First time, like I said, first time Echobox I ever witnessed it. It's Ed Shanahan at Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. Okay? I got people that can vouch for me tonight, here tonight. Ed Shanahan said, who is in control of this land? Okay? Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, the area. Okay? There's been witchcraft, demonic people burning this, burning that. Ed Shanahan, who is in control of this land? Echovox clearly stated, God.
So,
I'm just saying. I'm just telling you.
so,
I'd say it goes back to my original point. They'll say all kinds of stuff.
It
You can't
says all
believe
kind of
it.
things.
You can't believe
Does
it.
anybody-
It leads you down the right
He's
road.
trying to
If
talk.
all of a sudden we start getting Morse code or zeros and ones through it, and Andy can turn it into a diagram that makes a telephone that you pick up, and then you know what I mean, and report it over to your iPads, then that's helpful. But we don't get that, so we're on a quest. But what is it? It's fun.
It is
That's
fun.
all it is. That's all it is. One day we'll find out.
When it said God, I was like,
One day we'll find out. And that's all I, that's all I got. That's it. If it one last question and then that's it, if there's anybody. We good? We getting ready for experiments? Everybody's gonna have some coffee or caffeine, whatever you get amped up. We're gonna get that energy in this room buzzing. We forgot something I wish we had very badly, but kicked myself in the butt for that one. And but yeah. Do you wanna come right up? You wanna play your reel?
I'll play my sizzle reel.
Alright. Alright. So thank you all for listening, guys.